Thank you for being here, everyone. I think my presentation is going to be related nicely with the previous one and all the discussion. Johanna just said the game industry. Probably it could be the industry from this century as the automotive industry was for the previous one, for the last century. So it makes sense. This discussion about the transition of the auto industry is a big discussion. It's a big part of the debate in that takes place between the networks of specialists in the auto sector. Here is Bernard Julien, who has been leading the Yerpisa network for some years. And the Yerpisa network is a long-lasting network of the worldwide, international. And here is John Holmes and Jorge Carrillo and Graciela Besunzan. And they lead automotive institutions, automotive projects related with policy. In the case of Canada, the policy center of the automotive industry. So thanks for being here. And this is my agenda. What is exactly the paradigm that is under disruption, and exactly in which stage is this transition? I put forward a framework of mine and put some evidence, and then I'm gonna try every moment to stress that this is a chaotic moment, an experimentation moment, when anything is covered yet. And some remarks. Starting for the conclusion, this is my conclusion. This is a work in progress. So I'm talking about labor and business model and their disruption, and try to put in perspective a framework that takes into account the main features that if you're talking about business model, you want to tell us exactly what are you talking about. What is business model? And it's the same in the case of labor. What is your framework to analyze labor? What are the main issues that are under transformation? So in the case of the business model, we are to take into account the proposition, the value proposition, then the labor relation, the profit model, and the organizational structure on value and alliances that global value or regional value change that is in play. Whereas in the case of labor relations, the classical features that make the framework of labor relations, the basic, which are hiring, training, security, promoting, and work schedule, and ending with labor relations also. So, I put it in perspective 4 different models which are taking place right now. This is for debate. One is related to the American perspective. Another one is related to the German perspective, not the European, just the German perspective, and what I call the gig economy, represented by Uber, and what it could be a disruptive high-rob framework represented by Tesla. So, all this is what is in place in the auto sector. They call it the ACES framework, implying autonomous, smart mobility, connectivity, and electrification. And it comes Tesla, and it comes the Uber world, and it comes all that connectivity and things that are related to the car, where we are starting to discuss what is going to get more value is not the hardware of the car, but the software of the car, and all the possibilities of connection and data gathering and analytics that we are able to get and do. And I say that the main issues are in stake. Who's going to build the car of the future? Who's going to win the race of the future? Who's going to put exactly what is coming after the car? And under which business and labor model they are going to do this. I choose some different frameworks. One is the Giles and Pina framework related to dialectic issue life cycle, with put in perspective the different phases that the issue is going on, and the responses that take place in the political and economic and market environment, and stress that during the first stages, incumbents try to resist, try to defend their stance, and they always are struggling to remain in the same position, the same trajectory, the same paradigm, and only when there is a lot of institutional and social pressure building up, they start to change, following even institutional change, legal and regulatory change. But whereas there is not any good sufficient social and institutional pressures, incumbents are going to remain exactly in the same position. I carry out this analysis with the main 10 corporations worldwide, and I come to the conclusion, if you put the different stages, they just move from denying and resisting to experimental and diversification, which is kind of this stage. It's exactly the stage that is before radical reorientation. But it's important to remind that this is not something, again, carved yet or fixed yet. They could be, and they could move backwards. And I think that with the Detroit Three, with the American ones, they are doing that, supported by this guy, Donald Trump. And then it comes the disruptive innovation model that Christensen and all these people that say the disruption to take place is going to start in the low end of the market, in a moment of the incumbents. They focus in different markets, and they start to grow from here up, right? There is a discussion, even Christensen say that the case of Tesla, for some people, represent a disruptive model that is going from here, the low end of the market, and is increasing in this direction, even Uber. But for some people, Christensen particularly, Tesla is not a disruptive model because it's not in the low end of the market. It's what is the Tesla T3? It's a high premium car. It's not low-end car. So it's part of the discussion. Just some evidence, some things. Tesla practically right now got more market value than GM, Ford, and the together. And this is a broad perspective. You can see the main, some of the main corporations here in the market value, and you're going to realize that Uber got more value just in a few years that these guys, and then comes Tesla and Didi from China and Lyft and so on. But interesting, neither Uber nor Tesla, no one of these guys is making money. They, in fact, are losing money, which takes us to the idea that this is chaotic, and they have been not able so far to put right that business model. This is my main conclusion. Neither the corporations, they are going back and forth. Neither the newcomers, neither the high techs have been able to find the business model right and the labor model right. This is a perspective from one international agency just to show the chaos. This is how corporations every year analyze the future and the main trends and the main steps that they are going to take. And I try to put this in perspective. They are going back and forth from different issues. This year they say it's electrical car. The next year they say it's batteries. The next one is improving efficiency. So it's a big mess. We talk with a lot of CEOs of the corporations. They don't know exactly what is going to be into the corporation the coming year. The other part of the problem is that the geography in the frontiers of the car industry has been dramatically changing. And the big corporations and the triad countries are not any longer in the lead. This is quite important because this is, as never before, is part of the economy, it's part of the industry, it's part of the decision-making, the everyday decision-making. Politics is in the middle of this. Because it's a big issue. And again, when you think about the Brexit and especially the Donald Trump and all this stuff, they are exactly in the middle of this discussion. The big corporations are moving south, and then anyway, the Asian with Japan and the European with Germany are taking the list of the industry. Even in the case of North America, you see the Detroit Three are not any longer the main players in North America, including Mexico. They craft NAFTA to put away European and Asian competence and didn't get it. They craft this new NAFTA, the US something, the big Donald Trump said, this is the beautiful, most big, extraordinary deal anybody got in the past. So the idea is they are trying to protect something that is already lost. And finally this, again, this is the main corporations, and look, they are any longer, they are not producing, they are not selling at home. Mostly, they are moving again south to LDC countries, emerging countries, but this is incredible. This is just a part that they remain doing at home. So this is a big picture. There is no time, and again, this is Tesla. I was 2 blocks driving my bike when this accident took place in Arizona with an Uber Tesla. Yeah, 1 minute. And this is the way that I kind to make sense again of all these changes taking place. Even, for instance, you were talking about all these things that in the Uber, and in the game, I'm gonna try to put this together, and I'm gonna say in this kind of new settings, what we are seeing is a kind of psychological contract. It's not a formal labor relation contract, but it's a psychological contract that every single people try to put. It's an individualized, completely contract. So, thank you.